Hello everyone, thanks for joining in on time. Hello Abe.
Hi, hi.
I am properly audible now.
Yes, you are.
Great. Hello Devika, hello Bindu, hello everyone who has joined. I guess we'll start with the session in 1 or 2 minutes.
Sure.
Just waiting for the people to join in. Till then, you guys can tell in the chat box how all you are doing and how's everything in home. I guess I'm properly audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. I thought like people they are not listening me or they are not able to listen me because I can't see any responses. I am assuming that everyone is doing fine. Yeah. So Abhay, I guess we should start with the session. So yeah, great. Bindu is saying I am from Hyderabad and I'm doing well and safe. Great, Bindu. And I hope everyone who are present here they are doing great and staying safe at home. So yeah.
Great.
I guess I'll just start with a brief introduction about you and then you'll start with the presentation.
Works.
Okay. So, hello everyone, and welcome to the 54th session of EFO Talk series. And today with us, I'm having Abhay Chopra as a speaker, and he is a founder of Design Hat. And today, he'll be delivering his insights on like how you can get started with the case study. So, now I would like to welcome Abhay to start with his presentation.
Hi, everyone. Hi. Thank you so much for inviting. How can I upload that PDF?
Yeah, I have given you the access, you can upload it.
Okay, great. Got it. Yes, I think everybody can see it, right? Okay. Great, guys. Great. Okay. Thank you so much, Monisha, to telling me.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi. Hope you are doing really, really great. So, firstly, I would just like to tell you today what we're going to talk about and how it might benefit you guys. So, as a designer, case study is a very important part of your portfolio and everything. Why? Because being a designer, everybody wants to see how have you done your work and why have you done your work. That's the main thing. What have you done? Anyone can do, but why have you done? You only know about that, and that's what a case study and a portfolio is there for, to represent what's your process of doing something that you did in design. And everything in design is behind some, there is a logic behind it, there is something behind it which kind of makes it valid, right? So today we're going to talk about how a beginner designer can really draft a case study and what kind of projects he or she can take forward. So going forward, firstly I would just like to introduce myself. So I am Abhay Chopra. So I am the founder of a small community, Design Hat. We have around 500 plus members. We started just 2 months back, and we kind of help the budding designers to grow in their design industry in whichever form they can. That's the main purpose about our community. We have our podcast so that people can get to know about how others grow in their design industry, and they can also kind of get something out of it. Rest, I'm also known as intern at Growth School. I am a UX intern at Growth School. We design landing pages, we design workshops and stuff like that. Then I'm also the president of a social impact organization called Enactors MTech. I'm a mentor and speaker for design UX, and today this is my fifth talk that I'm giving on design, and I have given few other talks on social impact and stuff like that as well. So let's just go forward and start with the question. So what really is design? What really is design? And you might be thinking how a glass of water and a spoon and a milk are kind of linked towards a design, right? So let me go forward in the depth of why these are important to let you know what really is design. So design is something that serves a purpose. But for 99% of people, design would be something that is just visually good. So it might be possible that a person from literature might just see something that looks very good, but not at all, let's just say, not at all feasible for a person, right? So that might be a good design for them. But for me, as I'm a UX designer, for me it is very important that whatsoever I design, it serves a purpose. Whatsoever I do, it kind of helps the user to solve their problem. So let me tell you about how a glass of water really solves a problem. So if you wouldn't have a glass of water and you would have something that have been shaped like a spoon, would you be able to like get complete of your thirst, get away from your thirst and drink water? You might have to get the spoon around 100 times to complete one glass of water, right? So that's the difference between a design. The glass is designed in itself to gain a good amount of water that is suitable for a person to satisfy their need of thirst, right? Now, if we have to add some sugar in our tea or coffee or our dish, whatsoever, so would you use a glass for it? No, right? Because glass is something meant for a bigger quantity and spoon is something meant for a smaller quantity. So that's the difference between a glass and a spoon, right? Now, the other difference that comes over here is the milk cart. Now, if someone you would pack your milk in a glass, right, it will be difficult because it might break. Second, there is no cover, so it might get bad, get fungus or something like that. So that's why there is a special packaging for a milk. So you kind of understood why have these products been designed in a way that they have done, because that serves a purpose and fulfills their need. Now, going forward, we're going to discuss about what really recruiter looks in a portfolio, because at the end, everybody just wants to make a portfolio, and it is very important for them, and it should be, right? Because it is the only thing that serves the real purpose. So, the first thing that a recruiter really looks in a portfolio is the out of the box thinking. So I will give a very vague analogy over here. So if you are eating each and every day rice and rajma, right? And your friend comes and he or she says, let's just try today some Chinese food. And you say, I don't like it, but you have never tried it, right? So how can you really say that you have never uh, tried it without never that you don't like it without even trying it, right? So the purpose behind this out of the box thinking is that we usually do what everybody else is doing and don't experiment with stuff. So we have to do out of the box thinking, experiment with stuff, and think about and find the right thing that is very perfect for our design process, and then showcase that, because that is the only thing that will make you stand out of the crowd, right? Now, the other thing that is very important, that is very fascinating to me, because recently I did an interview with one of the recruiters, one of the CEOs of a design studio, and she told me that this is very important when you're trying to build a portfolio nowadays. So, that is what kind of education a recruiter can get from you. So, nowadays, a lot of you people know what they do, but a lot of people don't really know how to represent that. A lot of people don't really know how to really kind of channel that into someone else or help someone else with that knowledge. So that's nowadays a new trend that is going on in the recruiters, that they need to find out what really is important and what really serves the purpose for them, right?
just gone.
Yes, yes, I'm here. Sorry. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so basically, the purpose of education is that whatever you are learning, you need to represent it in a way that the recruiter kind of get a fact that you are someone who kind of influences other people and creates an impact in the industry, not just work here for some money or something like that, right? Then going forward, the other thing that is very important, and that is the base of this whole portfolio, is your design process, which is also very, very important when we are trying to build something out, right? Why it is important? Because if you don't know why you are doing something is a waste, right? So try to understand why you are doing something, and that is the only design process is the only way you can represent that process. Now, as I said, design process is the base. Out of the box thinking, you have to do it. I can't really help you out, or I can really teach you ways that can help you out in the out of the box thinking, or I can really help you out in a way that how really you want to impact. You have to understand how you want to impact. Some people just want to impact through writing. Some people want to impact through just write what I'm doing, taking sessions. Some people have some other perspective towards it. So you are the one who have to understand what is your perspective around it. So, but the design process thing, I can really help you out with that. So today we're going to discuss about design process and how really design process is something that I can teach you. So without wasting time, I will just go into the first design process that is very, very famous in the industry and that is very, very important nowadays to learn. It's called EDIP design process. EDIP design process stands for empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test, and then also implement. But that is something that everyone has to be do, right? So how this process goes? So basically, empathize process is a process where we kind of conduct the research part, where we kind of conduct user interviews, surveys, and stuff like that, and we develop an understanding for the user. Because developing an understanding for the users helps you out to know that is it something that you really want, or is it something that the user really wants or not, right? The second step is the define process. What is really the define process? Define process is the process where we basically combine all the research and observe where our problems really lie, where the user's problem really lies. Because a lot of time we think that problem statement is something, or their real problem is something that we see on the upfront, but the root problem might be something very, very different. So we have to understand that as well. The third step here is ideate. So when you have kind of analyzed and combined all the research and observed what the real problem is, then we have to get creative ideas. Then we have to think about how we can really fulfill user needs by having some crazy and innovative ideas, right? And that's where the out of the box thinking process also comes in. Going forward, there comes a very great process called prototype, and that is the process where you pick up your pen or pencil, or where you pick up your brush or whatever you want to pick up, and start designing stuff, start wireframing stuff, start building some representation of whatever you have collected till now, right? Start making your high fidelity prototypes. If you want to prototype them in a way, if you want to add animations and stuff, you can add that, interactions and stuff like that. But that's where the prototyping stuff happens. Now going forward, there's a test phase where we basically, once we have did all the research with our assumptions, we made a app. Now we need to validate it. How do we do that? We test it. We test it with the real users, get the feedback. Some might say this is good, some might say I got stuck at that position, some might say this color is not bad, and some might say something else. By After analyzing the feedback, you work on you work on iterating and then implementing it into the vision, right? Whatever you have vision in the first, then you kind of your end product came, and then you kind of can depends on the company. If someone wants to place it on a Play Store or somewhere else, they can do that, or if someone just wants to do this as a case study, you can do that as well. The other process that I'm going to talk about today is very, very important, because this is the process that I generally follow, and I recommend a lot of people to follow. So this process starts with a phase called discovery. What really we do in the discovery phase is that we kind of do the research. We kind of get to know about what really our user needs. What really does a user needs to fulfill their projections, right? So once we have, so for example, when we are starting a product, when we are trying to design a application or something like that, we kind of uh, have the assumptions, right? We assume that people might like this, we assume people might like this. So that's where the discovery phase and the research part comes. That's where you need to analyze that these things are very, very important to get the assumptions cleared out and validate them. How do we do that? Few of the methods that I mentioned, I usually do that. You can do user interviews, you can do surveys as well, you can do field studies, you can do stakeholder interviews and stuff like that. These kind of really help you out to get a knowledge of how whatever you have assumed, is it right or wrong. Once you have validated those assumptions, then comes a part of exploration. The exploration part basically means whatever you have collected the data, you kind of analyze it using user flows and competitor analysis, persona building, journey mapping, design reviews, task analysis, card sorting, and a lot of other processes. Once you have all the data, you kind of understand what kind of method should I use to fulfill the root problem that we have kind of found through the research. Once we kind of find a path that the user really wants to get fulfilled, then we work on designing that product, and that's the next process that is called prototype. Prototype is the phase where we basically design the system that really user wants. Once we have designed it, basically there's no special process of designing. We just, whatever we have done like information architecture or user flow, we just use that to design all the screens. We can go with low fidelity and high fidelity, or we can do three-step process, that is low fidelity, mid fidelity, and high fidelity. It depends on us, right? Then comes the test phase. That's what I talked about in the previous step as well. Test phase is very important, and I usually go to the test phase very early, because I feel like whatever I have assumed, I eventually have to test it with the users again. So research at the end is useful, but not very good for me. I really need to test it out with the real users and see what what difficulty they face in this whole process, right? Then the last and the very great process that comes after talking to the users and testing the products, it's come the matter of listening to the users. So now the feedback, whatever we are getting from the app that we have made, that is very important, because that kind of helps us to kind of iterate the product in a way that is useful for the users, because till now whatever we have designed we don't really know, right? So we kind of need to iterate those bugs and then need to fulfill that. How do we do that? We do surveys, we do user interviews again with the product, we do usability bug reviews, FAQ reviews, analytic reviews, and stuff like that. Analytic means there's a website called Hotjar where basically a heat map is done. We need to see that, and a lot of other things, right? These are very important. Now the main question comes: how really should your design process look like, right? To be frank, I can't answer that. I can tell you what the process I follow. I can tell you what the process a lot of big designers follow. And you can know about that by reading a lot of case studies on Behance or Dribble as well. But how really your process should look like, right? As I said, it doesn't matter if you do all the processes I said, or it doesn't matter if you don't do all the processes I said. What matters is whatever you have designed, whatsoever, might be just a single icon. Whatever you have designed, why you have designed that way, that is what is important. So it might be possible, like let's just say there might be someone who designs a Apple logo with just an outline, and someone who designs the logo with filled, it's very filled and colorful. So there might be a reason behind it why you did it. You like it, the users you are making the app for likes it. What's the reason behind it? And if you think that the users like it, how do you think that users like it? Did you validate it with the research or stuff like that? You need to answer the why in your design process. That's how the design process goes, and that's how basically a case study is made, by following these processes and stuff like that. Now comes the part, if you are a beginner, what kind of projects you can do, because you have had not no industry experience. So how you can do projects? So there are few amount of projects that are called, first, a redesign process, a redesign project. So what happens is that, for example, you use a website or a app on daily basis and you feel it has a lot of bugs, or the UI is not good, or you have some usability issues or stuff like that. You can use that application and redesign it fully. Redesign it in a way that everybody is attracted, right? Redesign in a way that you as a user is are happy with the website. First project is that. Second project is that you can do a project by your own. You have an idea of making an app that can help you out to buy something up on online or deliver something or whatsoever. Make a app for that, start researching and design the app at the end. That is what you can do. But always remember, whatever you are designing, try to make it technologically validated, because if you design something that is not at all available in this century, that is waste for your time and for the user who is there will be no user who will be using it, right? Because no technology validates that, right? The other project, that the last one that you can really do, is like you can contact some NPOs. NPOs are basically non-profit organizations which basically do a lot of projects. You can do a lot of projects for not getting paid, and you get a good amount of project and a good amount of team that you can work on with to do some projects. That's one way to look around it. Yeah, guys, I think this might really help you out to design your own case study. If it does, do let me know. And now we are gonna go to the Q&A. If you have some, we can chat around that and we can go forward.
Yeah, like it was a short and crisp thing about the case study. So I hope so. Like people are having questions. So yeah, you can like go on, or you can also raise your hand so that I can unmute you. Meanwhile, I have some questions. Like you told about the NPOs,
Hmm.
like is there any way to find projects on like non-profit organization, because we are not aware of like if supposingly any organization they have opened a project and they want any designer to work on, so most of the people they are not aware of, yeah, they don't have any idea like where to get such projects. So
Okay.
any resources you might know.
I don't. So in COVID, there was a website. If I do, I will send it in the group as well. I can't remember the name right now. But
Okay.
one thing that I will really say to reach out to people. So, for example, for Enactus, like I'm a president of a chapter of Enactus in my college. So
Yeah.
Enactus is a NPO. So there are thousands and thousands of chapters all over the India, and not just India, all over the world. So what you can
Okay.
do, you can find them on Instagram, you can find them on LinkedIn, you can find them wheresoever. Just cold message them. Just message them that I am this, I have done this. I really want to contribute to the project because it might. I really want to contribute to the project because I'm really a social person and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
it might be possible the first 100 might not reply, but the 101 might reply. So
Exactly.
that is something that you can do. And the resource that I would really say, that in Actors is one thing, Rotaract
Okay.
are the organizations. You will find bigger
Yes.
organizations like Rotaract. There are many more, right? Or there are a lot of NGOs as well. But you have to
Hmm.
message them if there is any project available that I can work on. If you can't, you would be able to find directly the project pages as well. If you don't find that, you can just message them that I need to I'm this and I really want you I only want to contribute to the community. If there's any project or in which I can work as a UI UX designer, do or some other
Yeah.
designer, do let me know.
Yeah, I also came across a website, like I remember that name, maybe Hunger, on which you can find emails of every person, like the founders or SCOs,
Okay.
so that you can find the mail and you can directly mail your like pitch them for getting you a work.
Yep, that's one thing.
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
I guess Monisha is having a doubt, like are there any websites for taking surveys online for user research?
If you want to take surveys, Google Form is the best.
Yeah.
Easy and best. One thing why I would choose a user form, because Google Form, sorry. The reason why, I did a lot of research about this as well, that you Google Form is better or do I need to use something else. So if you are just asking some single question, what you can really do is that you can just send what I say. You can use straw poll. There's a website called straw poll. You can use that to answer that poll. And if you have a good following on LinkedIn, you can use their polls as well, because you get a lot of reach on that. So around 70, 80, 90, 100 people can also vote that as
Yeah.
well. So that's a single question one. But if you want to design a full survey, Google Form is the best. It's very relatable to people. It's free and easy. There's one more called Type Form, but
Hmm.
it's more good looking, but it's not something that would a lot of people know how to use, I would say.
Yeah, right. Hi Bhavan, I guess he's having some question or so. So I guess I'll unmute him. Okay, so another question is like any case study tips for entry level beginners, like entry level designers to
Okay.
like follow.
There's no such thing, but everything that I said, validate everything that you do. Because
Okay.
whenever a recruiter is asking, whenever you are on an interview, recruiter will ask, what did you
Hmm.
do and why did you do it? Because if you can't validate what you did, that's just a waste of time. What that thing anyone can do. That's the main job of a designer. Whatever you're designing, it is something that you did for a reason, right? There's a logic behind it.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's a special tip. But if you are asking for a project base, as I said, you can do redesigning projects, reach out to NPOs, or design some projects that are of your own as well.
Okay, so any best websites you like refer for like building case study or getting inspiration from?
Behance, Dribble, these two are really good. There are a lot of others as well. I would suggest if you are into research and that why someone does something, go to
Hmm.
Medium. There are good amount of research part of
Yeah.
case studies that you can also look and just write UI inspirations. Pinterest is something that I really use because it kind of collects all the resources for me in one place. So that is something that you can look forward to Pinterest. And yeah, just write. If you want more website, then you can just write UI inspiration. You will find around 1,000 websites on that as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like we can take inspiration from Behance because there are a lot of case
Yes.
studies on that. And apart from this, like for presenting your case studies, like on
Hmm.
which platform you make and which platform you consider to put your case studies on.
Okay. So there are a good amount of platforms that you can look forward to, right? So one is Behance. Obviously, you can design a full case study and then put it in Behance, right? The second part is you can write it on a Figma article. Sorry, Figma. Keh raha
Hmm.
hu. I'm saying a Medium article, right?
Yeah.
The other thing is you can, if you have money and if you want to build portfolio, there are two three options. You can use a website called Cards, CAARDS, I think so. So this is a website you can use to design a website, a portfolio. But this is, I think, paid. There's one more software called Notion. If somebody knows that, Notion is something that you can use to design a simple portfolio. So, for example, I can send links in the chat, right? I
Yeah,
think
yeah, sure. You can like send that links in the chat
just a sec.
box. Yeah.
So this is my own website. I have made it on Notion. I haven't done
Okay.
anything. This whole website is on Notion. So you guys can
Okay.
also use this. This is just a little bit of database. You just have to watch a little video, 1 hour video on YouTube, and you can like look around and see how you can go. Like you can just make a portfolio just like this. Yeah.
You actually gave a good idea. Like I was struggling in making my portfolio.
Hmm.
Even I started with the coding thing, but yeah, it's like hectic and
Coding
taking
is
a
good.
lot of time.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, you
Eventually, what
can.
what I say, if you are earning and if you are good
Hmm.
enough, so
Hmm.
start to learn Webflow. There are thousands of tutorials
Yes.
on YouTube. Start to
Yeah.
learn that, and then eventually switch to Webflow. Webflow is little a lot expensive, but you can use that. But if you want to just stick around to Notion, as I did, you can do that as well.
Yes. Yeah, this is a great idea for a student to go with
Hmm.
because Webflow is also paid, but yeah, you can also consider WordPress.
Yes.
But for web hosting, it will cost you some amount. But yeah, I guess Notion is
Notion
a
is
good
something,
option.
yeah. Notion is something that you can look forward to. Like, for
Yeah.
example, I have my domain, so I have just redirected it to Notion. But one thing what
Okay.
you can do is that you can just go to tinyurl.com and just shorten that
Shorten.
up, that right,
Yeah.
let's just say Monisha's portfolio, and just
Hmm.
redirect it to that Notion page. That's something that you can do.
Okay, so the portfolio which you have made, like, so it's completely on Notion, or you have
It's
like
completely on
made.
Notion.
Okay.
Nothing else.
So for connecting the links, how did you did that?
Though, as I said, Notion is a big software. You might have to little bit of to learn that. So just
Okay.
just follow a tutorial on 1 hour tutorial on YouTube. You will just find easy. It's just a database. You just have to write slash, and there are ton of options to
Yes.
go forward to. You can go around.
Yeah, I guess tutorial will work fine. Yeah,
Yes.
let's just take a question from Bhavin. So he's saying that hi, I am new to this field and don't know much about this. So would like to know that once we made all the things for application, how do we convert it into an application which is practically can use?
Okay. So this is something. I'm from a engineering background. That's why I know this. But to be
Hmm.
honest, for a UI UX designer, it's not your job to convert it to a practical use. It's the job of a developer,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
But if you are a developer, then to be honest, I'm not someone you should look forward to answer that, but still I would. So you just have to use coding. If you want to use coding, you can use that. There are a lot of websites where you can drag and drop things, right? For example, there's a
Hmm.
website called Codica, Kodika, I think so. You can use that website where you can make iOS apps by dragging and dropping. So that's what you can use. There's one more app called that is very famous nowadays. That is called Brave. I think Brave or Bravo. I think that's something. So that is something that you can use. There's one more website for Figma thing. If you have made a website on Figma or a portfolio on Figma, that's paid obviously, but you can use Figside, Figside, Figside website, which basically helps you to uh, share your like publish your website from Figma to straight away to a website.
Yeah, they are like plugins, I guess.
No, Figside. I'm not sure because I haven't used it, but Figside is a website. I don't know if it
Okay.
works as a plugin or not. I really don't know that, but that is something that I know. Ki it ships something. I can send the link in the chat.
You
Yeah.
can like tell the name for that as well, Codica.
Yes, Codiga is something that I haven't used, but I know that this is
Okay.
something that is very good. Uh,
And for the Brave, I guess that one is Brave Studio or
yes,
something
Brave
else.
Studio only.
Okay.
This is something Codiga. Codiga is something that I would really refer, but again, it's paid. One more thing, if you want to get it for it's free as well. But one more thing, if you want to get it for free and want to publish your app on App Store,
Hmm.
there's a way around it. So there's a thing called GitHub Education Pack. Okay,
Yeah.
so you can get that pack if you are a college student. It might take
Hmm.
around 2 to 3 months to get that back. I will give that link as well.
Yeah, it's student pack.
Yes,
Student.
it's this education student pack where basically if you get this, you get a
Hmm.
lot of tools, including Canva for a year free. So
Hmm. Right.
Codica is for 6 months free in this particular pack, so that you can use it as well.
Yeah, even many of the domains are also free.
Yes,
We can
yes,
access that as well.
exactly.
And I guess for like the question that Bhavin asked, I guess for the Android apps we can code through Kotlin or Flutter.
Yeah, that's the coding part. As I said, a UI UX designer should not do coding. It's not
Hmm.
something
Right.
that you should be using, but if you want to, you can. Like, it's not my thing to say,
Yeah.
but yeah, like I prefer if you are a UI UX designer, coding is not something that is your case. But if you just are experimenting with stuff, that obviously you can use Kotlin, Flutter. Flutter is something that does cross-platform that you can use. That is very easy as well. If you
Hmm.
want to make if you want to do coding and design a website, there's a thing called Bootstrap Studio, again paid, but
Hmm.
in education GitHub Studio it's free for a
Yeah.
year. That is something that you can do, and the hosting is free as well in that as well, so you can use that.
Exactly. I guess Bhiman is asking, can you explain previous resources you shared now?
Yeah, sure. So the fixed site is something that you can use to kind of publish your website straight from Figma. The Codica is something that you can use to drag and drop and build a iOS based app. Then the education pack is something someone for a student who is a student and they can apply for this. And if they get it, a lot of tools that I mentioned just which are paid, might you might get free, and a lot of other tools as well.
Yeah, I hope so. It's clear. Okay, so I came across one testing on your slide lab, benchmark testing. So what's that?
Okay, so that is 1 second. uh, Benchmark testing, you said.
Yeah. Biman, I'll unmute you after this question. So I guess he has
Which
some
website is
question.
it? Can you tell the website?
Benchmark testing, not website, a slide. I just saw.
Okay. What's that part? Okay. So that is basically when benchmark testing is something when we involve a lot of users, right? Sorry, developers. So for example, when we have made something that is not feasible
Okay.
for the users to use, or it is like something is lacking in that, and from a developer or database point of view, so we need to involve developers in that phase, and we need to discuss with them and brainstorm with them how we can make the system performance great and how we can increase that performance, so that users can use this particular thing easily. Because this is basically done when the app is live, or the servers are live, because that's basically how we can test the server load and something.
Okay, that's great. I guess Biman is having a question, so I'll unmute him.
Sure.
Okay, so hello, good evening.
Hi. Hi, Vimal.
Yeah, so I have a very basic question. I've been learning about user experience. It's like a process to find the solution of a given problem.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you give me one example of like problem statement or something? Just practical example.
Problem statement.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I can give it. Uh,
Yes.
so I think this is something that I always felt regarding, because I also felt I couldn't find a process of how to do it. So basically, I will tell you a problem statement. So problem statement is something. For example, okay, let's see a lot of let's take an example of.
I guess yeah, you go on.
Okay, so let me ask. So basically, if you are someone who are working in personal, right? Then you are planning. Then you basically are very busy with all of the stuff and you can't make your own food. And you want food, right? But there are no services providing food. So what would you do? And this is something that am assuming that someone faces, right? What you would do? You would try to find a service that basically delivers you the food from a restaurant all around you, right? Because you are hustling, you are doing all the work all the time, so you don't have the time to get out and get the food, right? This is a problem, okay, that a user is facing. Now, how someone fulfills it? How which app fulfilled it? Zomato fulfilled it, Swiggy fulfilled it, and these were the problem statement of Swiggy and Zomato. That someone was facing some problem, and someone, not just someone, because you can't just make an app for just a 10 or 20 amount of people, right? You have to make an app for a bigger amount of people, because that is why then it will be a business perspective, because that is something a business side, because eventually a UX designer, if he or she grows in their industry, they eventually turn out to be a product designer, and that's when they have to think about the business side as well. So problem statement is basically that. If you want to specifically learn about the problem statement, there are processes how you can write a problem statement, but eventually on a basic term, firstly you should analyze it from your point of view. What is a problem that a user is facing? Once you know that, then you can work on the solution by doing a research and stuff.
Yeah, like we can take example of COVID
Yes, exactly.
for like recent situation. So yeah, that's also a problem which people are solving.
Yes, exactly. That is something that you can look forward to.
Yeah.
I
So
will give
I
you a
guess
link
there
as
Okay,
is
well.
thanks. It's
I will give you.
totally, yeah.
Yeah, go on, go on, go on.
go on.
What me?
Yeah, you can go on. You can go on.
Hello?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. So yeah, it's like I'm currently studying in college. Okay.
Okay.
So if I were in a
Yeah,
like
certainly.
rent room, so
Hmm.
I can't make food, study, do my project assignment all the same time,
Hmm.
all at the same time. So my problem is that I want someone to provide me food, so I don't waste time in cooking all that.
Hmm.
So that's my problem. Now someone who makes me an app like networks with the nearby restaurant or something,
Hmm.
gives me an app and solves my problem. That's all.
Yeah, basically, that is your problem,
Oh,
right? That is your problem. Do remember that, because always this one thing is very misconfused, that you are not the
yes.
user, no matter what, right? You are never the user. Okay? A problem you are facing,
Okay.
first you have to
No means
understand with your research or survey, you can say.
yeah.
Whenever I do whenever I have a idea in my mind, I always research. I always
Mm,
do a survey. I do a survey. It depends. Now, if I want to make a research paper out of my case study or whatever I'm doing, I will do a bigger survey.
okay.
If I don't want to do that, I will do a survey of around 30 to 50 people. Okay? And that's when you
Okay.
will realize that this is a problem that everybody is facing, or you are the only one who is facing that. right?
Oh, is it a big problem or a small problem like that?
Yes, and look, because you,
Okay.
because if you did the research and you got to know
Mhm.
just around with the research of 100 people, only 3 people are facing this problem. So why would you
Okay.
drive that solution?
Waste time. Waste
Yes,
time in that.
yes. So
Yeah.
either you will find a different problem, that is the root one,
Yes.
that is you will find
Mhm.
from a research, or you will like shift towards different problem, obviously.
Okay. Okay.
So I've
Thanks.
given a link for a
Yeah.
video. You can check it out. This basically explains the define phase of the whole process. As we talked about the EDIP, na, the define phase is all about problem statement.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
great. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
So there is a question from Manisha. Up to how many users we need to do the testing? Like, is it done based on various user groups, based on the problem we are solving?
Uh, Again, it depends. As I said, on a survey, if I'm doing like a normal uh, something for myself, I would do around 30 to 50 people. If I'm doing for a bigger thing or a research paper, I need statistic evaluations, then I would do for around at least 200 people. But if you are talking about testing should be done with a limited amount of people, because you have done a good chunk of result to get to the testing part. So you have already validated a lot of things. Now you just need to validate a lot of users uh, perception towards this. And what a good amount would be a 5 people user testing by behavior analysis and stuff like that. That's what I would suggest. And I would suggest A/B testing is a good if you want to do on a qualitative basis. So just have two versions of your website or a application you are making. Then then put it in a survey, just like a Google form, and ask people which design looks better to them, just like that.
Yeah, exactly. We can also redesign WhatsApp, Instagram, or anything
Yes.
just to add those in our project things.
Yeah. Welcome, Manisha. Welcome.
Yeah, so I guess these are the questions from my side. And if anyone you're having any questions, so just go on. I guess Abhay has like explained everything in a very good way. It's still you are having any questions, you the stage is open for you.
Yeah.
And,
No
and yeah,
issues.
apart from this, like, how did you came across an idea to open a your own design hat community, or you can say
Okay. Okay.
a community? Yeah.
Got it. So basically, I have been into design for around 6 7 years now, but
Okay.
got just into UI UX around 2 years back.
Okay.
When I was learning UI UX as a designer, I felt that there are no specific resources of how to do it. Still, I don't really like. Still, it's very difficult for me to get to the fact that how someone should do a case study specifically, because
Hmm.
everybody wants a case study, but nobody knows how to make it, right?
Yeah. Right.
So because everybody has different processes, so a general process is very required for a particular user. You say somewhere, say I told you about edit process, but I didn't told you what kind of things you can use. But in my own process, I told you what you can use. You can do this testing, you can do this survey, you can do this thing, and then you can learn those specific things, and you can do that in the whole process. But a lot of people don't tell you. So I was facing a lot of problem for learning, and that's when I realized that I want to impact more on people and help them out in getting into design industry, because the industry doesn't have some kind of community which really helps us out in this way. So yeah, that's what I kind of made the idea and dragged onto some of the people and joined the community. Yeah.
Okay. So like, if you are into like designing from 6 to 7 years, so why you decided to go with the engineering thing, like the BTech thing?
Because when I was in 8th standard, I was just 13 years old when I started designing. So no one can expect a 13-year-old to don't explore things, right? So I explored a lot
Yeah.
of things. I did marketing, I did graphics, I did a lot of shit. So then I came to a realization after around, I would say around 4 or 5 years, that no, design is something that I want to pursue. That's what I again
Okay.
then again, whatever I learned in this whole process, I loved content creation, I loved
Hmm.
video editing, I loved design, I love tech as well. So that's why I kind of find that UI UX is something that I really want to pursue.
Exactly. Like I can also relate, but I am into design from like almost 1 year.
Hmm.
Like I'm also doing the engineering thing. So
Hmm.
that's why I came across this question. Like if you're saying that you are into designing from 6 to 7 years,
Hmm.
So it's important to us like why you choose BTech as
because
a.
because it's very important to experiment. If you don't experiment,
Hmm.
you won't be able to get to the thing that you really want, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like people can test everything and experience everything, even
Yes.
digital marketing or even copywriting or everything.
Yes, because whatever you choose, see, people say that you can change your career anytime. I kind of agree,
Hmm.
but I kind of don't, because whenever you are settling in a career, if you change it, your salary drops at a very great level, right? And you,
Hmm.
eventually, money is something that everybody needs, no matter what, how much anybody says. So try to do
Exactly.
something that you can do for a longer period of time. It might be possible after 10, 15 years. I'm not interested in design. I want to do something else. But after 10, 15 years, I might be able to save good amount of money so that I can take a risk to change the career.
Yeah, exactly. There should be like multiple knowledges to have a multiple source of
Yes,
incomes.
exactly.
Yeah. So I guess there is no more questions. So it's like we are wrapping the session, and it's great talking to you, Abhay.
Thank you so much. If anybody has any question, they can also ping me up on any of the platforms, either Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, anywhere. I'm always up. You can just, yeah. So if you have any doubt, just let me know. And yeah, thank you so much, Srishti, for inviting me, and thank you so much, guys, for attending the session.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining in, and
Can I
thank you,
ask a
Abhay.
question?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, women.
Excuse me.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, like you mentioned the community, your community. So
Mhm.
can we find the resources to learn the like basic design theories, color theory, typography, etc.
Yeah,
and
sure.
etc.
What I would suggest, uh, you can ping me up on Instagram. I will give you the link for my community, or you can just go through Instagram. You will get the community. You can ping me up. I will just help you out to join it and give you the resources.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's a wrap up of the session. Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you again, Abhay, for being a speaker of my talk for today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So everyone, stay safe and have a good day ahead. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.